What's your worst? I know this looks bad, but I can explain moment. A female friend of mine who is a police officer was on a welfare check and was bit by the property owner's dog. She was about a mile from my house when bit, and because I'm an EMT she decided to call me to see if I could inspect where she was bitten and advise if she needed to go to the hospital. She show up at my house and limps into the kitchen telling me the dog bit her just below her left butt cheek on the rear of her upper thigh. I was worried that the bite had broke the skin and she would need to get it bandaged and possibly get a rabies shot. I told her that I would have to take a look at the bite to help her, so she takes off her duty belt and pulls her pants down to around her knees to expose the bite area. It didn't look too bad, but there were 2 spots where the dog's teeth had broke the skin. I told her I would bandage it up so she could make the 20-minute drive to the clinic. I was just about to bandage her leg when my wife walks through the door. There I am with one of our female friends, standing in our kitchen, in her police officer uniform, pants down. She was wearing a thong. I was sitting so basically her ass was in my face, and my hands on her upper thigh/butt. We both had the deer in the headlight stare as we realized how bad this must have looked to my wife. We then both shouted out in unison, "It was a dog bite." I was really tall in junior high. One of my best friends at the time was pretty short, and we had a running joke where he would use a little kid voice whenever standing next to me because I was so much taller. So one day we are playing tag around my church building. Grew up in a conservative house after most people had already left, and my buddy runs into the bathroom and locks himself in a stall. But I was taller than the wall of the stall, so I pressed up against it and looked down at him and said in my best creepy voice, "You can't hide from me." And he used his little kid voice to say, "Oh no. Somebody please help." Of course, one of the old church ladies was standing in the doorway behind us, watching the whole thing with horror. Turns out she was there to clean and caught us at exactly the wrong time. As a broke college kid, one of my go-to meals was a $0.69 chili dog from 7 to 11, which was 4 blocks from my dorm. I had no car. One winter's night, I bundled up in my heavy coat, gloves, and beanie and went to get myself one. So I'm heading back, holding my foil-wrapped dinner, and decide to run to get out of the cold faster. Next thing I know, a cop car screeches to a halt in front of me, and I'm ordered to the ground. Spent the next couple minutes explaining to NJPD why I'm running out of a convenience store at night in a ski mask, waving a shiny metal object. TL/DR, suspected assault with a deadly wiener. Oh man. Back in my early 20s, around mid-2000s when Jack was all the craze, I went to a house party. A girl there took a big liking to me and kept coming on to me pretty strong. I was in a relationship and kept turning her down. I went into the parents' bedroom to take a call when she came into the room and tried to kiss me. I said no, and she started to undress. I told my friend on the other end of the phone what was going on, and he just said, "Well, jump out the window." 20-year-old drunk me thought this was a great idea, just like CKY/Jack. So I opened the window and jumped out onto the grass below, rolled and walked away unhurt. The next thing I know there is a dull thud, and semi-naked crazy chick was laying on the ground. She had jumped out after me, hit the earth below, slipped and fallen backwards, hitting her head on the ground. People inside the party heard the noise and came running out the door of the house to find me standing over a semi-conscious half-naked girl. 4th grade. All of the kids in my class had figured out that they could get up to sharpen their pencils whenever they wanted, a way to break up the monotony, I suppose. Several students abused this privilege and I didn't want to be counted among the abusers, as Mrs. Spangler had become vocal about this. During an assignment, my pencil was dull to the point that the wood was scratching on my paper. I decided to use my thumbnail to break the wood away from the tip and expose the graphite so that I didn't have to sharpen it. As I was doing this, my teacher walked by and exclaimed, "You're trying to break your pencil." I didn't have time to establish a defense before she admonished me in front of the class. I still think about it sometimes. I'm 37. Edit, you all are cracking me up with your stories. It's nice to know that I wasn't alone in my anxiety-riddled adolescence. Sister came home to her boyfriend and our brother laying his head in his lap, Her BF was holding his head in his lap and stroking his head and back. She was confused, and as soon as she opened her mouth her BF turned around. "Oh hey, be quiet, he just fell asleep." Apparently my brother got food poisoning and was throwing up constantly. Her BF showed up to return some things she left at his house. So being him, he helped our brother get some medicine from the store, change, and stroked his head on the couch till he fell asleep. It took a while, since he was always getting up to throw up. We all laugh about it now. I work at a school portrait company. I retouch thousands of images and sometimes I need to retouch inappropriate things. Well, this high school girl was wearing a see-through shirt and I had to retouch out her nipples. I was in the office by myself as a 20-something-year-old man when a girl walks in and sees me zoomed in on this high school girl's see-through shirt. I can explain. I told her I'm not a creep, I'm just retouching her shirt, so you can't see her nipples. It was very awkward, but since she worked as a photographer she completely understood once I explained. This happened in high school, shortly after I started dating my first boyfriend. At the time, I would often wear a camisole with a built-in bra, layered under a v-neck tee. One day, I was wearing this outfit, but wanted to go shopping after school for other shirts, so I brought a regular bra with me to try stuff on. After I got out of the store, I for some reason didn't want to put the bra in my bag, so I put it in the armrest compartment between the front seats of my dad's car, and of course immediately forgot it was there. The next day, my parents were getting ready to go somewhere. They had left the house, but moments later my mom barged back in, demanding to know why I was taking off my clothes in the car. I frantically tried to explain the clothes shopping story, but to this day I'm not sure she bought it. So back in college my friend is giving out tours to potential students. He asks to show my room on a Saturday. I agree and forget. Now in college almost all my friends were girls. I had a serious girlfriend from high school who I stayed with, so it was easy to make friends with girls as they didn't find me threatening. They knew I wouldn't hit on them or anything, so we'd hand out a lot. We'd even sleep over each other's dorms. Like they'd be in their beds, I'd be on the floor or whatnot. So one night 4 of them decide to sleep over at my 4. Being a nice guy I take the floor and let 2 of them use my bed, while 2 others sleep on the floor. I get up at around 9 AM, they're still sleeping, so I get on my computer in the same room. All of a sudden I hear a key in the door, and in walks my tour buddy with 4 families. My 2 friends in bed wake up, and sit up in fear. They instinctively pull the covers up, so it looks like both are naked. Meanwhile the other 2 on the floor are sleeping, and I'm on the computer chilling. They all look at us in shock and I just go, "Oh, I forgot this was today." One of the dads laugh and says, "Well, it looks like a nice school." All the guys on the tour looked like they're ready to sign up to go to the school on the spot. I didn't even explain anything. They all just looked for a second and left to view another room. On the way out another dad stays behind for a second, looks at me and says, "Nice." We all had a great laugh about it. Mine's a little different. I was at a corporate function and noticed that the president of the company was trying to clean his glasses with a paper napkin. Being the well-prepared person I am, I always keep a microfiber cloth in my pocket. I wear glasses too, and I prefer to actually clean the glasses, not just smudge the oils around. I digress. So I reach into my pocket, grab a cloth, and hand it to him. And he responds with a confused huh. Now, at this time I also have a son who is going through potty training, so I tended to keep spare clothes, usually in my backpack, but also in the pockets of my overcoat. I look over, and the president of my company is kind of staring at the unused, thank God, pair of Jake and the Neverland Pirates underwear, boy's size small, I just handed him. And of course, my immediate response wasn't to laugh, wasn't to say, "Oh, those are my kid's backup pair." No, my response was to immediately say those aren't mine. Which was 1, obvious, and 2, not guilty sounding at all. I was volunteering at a pool for my instructor's certification. The girl I was with was really thirsty and asked if I would mind getting her a Powerade from the vending machine, since she couldn't leave her class. She told me where her wallet was, so I could get her change. Another staff member walked in while I was taking the money from her wallet. I was the most straight-laced, nervous kid on earth, lol. I explained. She either believed me or checked with the lifeguard later, but either way, the first girl got her Powerade in the pool, hired me later, so the second girl knows I'm not a thief. I had recently started dating this girl. We had been together maybe 3 months, and I had yet to do the meet the parents thing. I had been putting it off as her dad was this fearsome Scottish dude, who was known for his temper. Anyhow, at my 19th birthday party, as so many do at this age, things got out of control. It was supposed to be a garden party, but it got changed to a garage party when the weather let me down. It was slinging it down. As my parents didn't want a mess, everyone was supposed to take off shoes when coming in the house for the toilet. As you can imagine, after everyone breaks the piss seal, few lads can be bothered with all that just for piss. So we are all going through my back gate and using the grass around the corner. This also becomes the outdoor smoking spot, and the combined foot traffic in the rain does not take long to turn this into a quagmire of mud and piss. My girlfriend takes a massive swig of vodka. Mistake. This is not staying down. She dashes outside to vomit. She hurls up everywhere in this mud, then promptly falls over in it. She is so hammered she then rolls over onto her front to stand back up. She now looks like the Swamp Thing, and she is going downhill fast. She is under strict instructions to be home by midnight, and it is now 11 PM and she can barely stand. This is a small town with no taxi company, and the 1-mile walk across town with someone in this state is not happening, as quite a lot of people are staying over. My first gambit was to ring her home and try to get her permission to stay over too. Of course it was her dad who answered. That request went down like a sandwich and was given a very firm no from the dad, who then just hung up as the conversation was over. So I have to ring back and sheepishly explain that she is too far gone to move under her own power. He will need to come and get her. Fine. Hangs up again. It was then I knew I really up. She was still in Swamp Thing mode and her dad would be here in no time. We had to clean her up. We had already gotten her out of her jumper, with her still throwing up in the toilet. I explained I was going to lend her some of my jeans. In my drunken brain this was an awesome plan. We just had to wait for her to stop being sick. This didn't happen. Panic is rising. This was more than a one-person job. I then got her best friend to help her out of her jeans. I did not hear the dad arrive as the front door was open from other people leaving. He just walked straight in. I guess someone directed him upstairs as he walks into the bathroom, just in time to see myself and Lucy peeling the jeans down over his daughter's ass as she was still being sick in the toilet. Time stopped. Had I asked anyone else to help I would probably be dead. It was a year before I went around for dinner. My friend Anna was in her 20s, but she looked really young, easily as though she could be a minor. She had too much to drink at the bar, so I started carrying her home on my shoulders as she was having a really hard time walking. As we got to her house I went to let her down, and she fell off and smacked her head on the fence. She was wearing a skirt, and as she fell it went up to her waist. I'm trying to get her to come to, so she can go in her house, when an old lady walks out on her porch and starts screaming, "What are you doing to that little girl? Where are her clothes?" I try to calmly explain that this is her house, and I'm just a friend trying to get her home, but she just keeps shouting, "Where are her clothes? What have you done to her?" She won't come to, and I realize just how bad the situation looks, so I tell the old lady we can call an ambulance. As I tell my friend we are about to call an ambulance, she immediately comes to and fixes her skirt and stands up. The old lady says, "Oh, you were right. I guess she had clothes the whole time."